Hey Sarah, how you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks.
Paul,
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Pretty good. I was so busy today. I had like 4 clients. You're my second one right now.
Oh my God, seriously, I thought you'd have a,
No, it's been a busy week, but it's been good though. I like doing this kind of stuff.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a Sunday, like Sunday's supposed to be my rest day, but whatever.
Right.
This is my rest. This is like my day when I can like work is like that's my thing. But then when you decompress, this is how I do it.
Wow, a lot different than me. So,
I know, right? No. How's the coding been? Did you start doing any the homework or the lessons?
yeah, I have a draft for you to review. I'll send it after today because I wanted to focus on the lesson plans that you had created and just kind of really backtrack and get a better foundation. I have a
Okay.
lot of errors and I feel like it's, I was looking at one site and then another trying to, I got some code understanding and then others I was,
Okay.
searching different sites like, well, maybe this works and nothing really worked, but I think I'm almost there on some things.
Okay,
I'm,
that's good progress at least. Like from last time, yeah, because this is the second one, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
is the,
good progress. You made, I think that would be good. Maybe we'll talk about that. Like, did you want to look at the lessons first, or how did you want to?
yeah, I think let's go through your lesson plans today and really focus on that because I know that
Okay.
you worked hard on them. I saw that the 4 a.m. That's insane, but
Oh yeah, yeah. No, 'cause, that's usually yeah. I would wake up early. Like that's like I told you. Yeah, like I would. For me, like I have so much work in the morning,
oh
so I
my
want to
God.
get this out of the way. And then I feel like it would work out better if you work on it first, because this one isn't due until like Wednesday, right?
Every Wednesday. So I think that I'll if you're if you're super booked Tuesday, I'll send it tonight anyway, so you could take a look. And if it's going to require
Yeah, please send
a
me what
long
you have.
time,
If you already
yeah,
started, right?
yeah, I already have one draft, and it's it's just it feels like spaghetti code. Like the instructor
Yeah,
says, it's like
that's
I'm
usually what it is.
piecemealing it. Yeah, I'm like some
Pseudocoding, and then you fill in the gaps. That's what it is. Yeah.
yeah, it's just I want to obviously understand it better. That's why I'm taking it. And like Saturday's class was very frustrating because it was
Did you guys cover Matplotlib on Saturday?
we did, and it was it was an interesting topic, and I think I'm not going to say simple, but we
Okay.
covered so much as usual.
Yeah.
And and then it was like, we get the lessons an hour before, which is fine because I don't have time to look at them before class anyway. But then
Yeah.
it's instructor lesson, and then you get 8 minutes to do the student lesson. But
Okay.
and then it's like, oh, but we didn't share it, so then you need to go to this documentation if you have questions on it. I'm
He
like,
says that.
we
I
just
see what you're saying. Yeah, that's kind of like what I would say, yeah, because it's a boot camp. It's like he won't be able to cover everything,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
like even though it's like 5 hour, is the class like one more
It's
5 6
4. It
4 hours?
feels like 10, but
Yeah, I know. I've been to those classes somewhat. It is what that is like. It's gonna be rewarding because when he says go look at the documentation, every coder always tells you that because like it's just so much, that you
yeah,
can't like learn like they could teach it like one or two ways. They could either a boot camp can either teach you like all the commands, like let's
yeah,
focus on like 10 commands today and that's all we're gonna do.
yeah. You exactly.
Or
Or
like
get
you can just teach you like the concepts. Like if you took it like in a more of like maybe like undergrad or like a grad school setting, like a master's setting, then you have so long, right, to like take care of like all the basics, and then you can break it down, and then
yeah,
because you usually teach it that way, you break it down from the concept of programming, like general programming, and then you introduce the application of like a commercial program, and then you kind of like relate it back, like okay, let's talk about like loops in general, and then now how does Python do loops, how does VBA do loops, and
yeah.
but then
That,
now that's why like when they teach it to you, like, okay, you have this one day, and then now let's learn all about the modules, especially for Python.
Yeah, on to the next topic. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Wait. I'm like 3 weeks behind you.
I did write like I wrote something that would be very because like I think there's like 5 packages or like modules that's very helpful in Python. I think 6 and 7. Because you have this pandas. You covered pandas, right?
Covered pandas, and that's
And
what this week's homework is. Yeah, so I
yeah,
really want to cover that because, I'm barely grasping Python. I think it's an
okay,
interesting program,
yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
but I relied on you a lot and
yeah.
for Python, and I need to,
It's
because we have.
very yeah. If there's like one of the three, yeah, focus yourself on Python, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even if we move on away from like Python into Java, which is like disgusting. No, really, Java is like one of those things. Like it's really not hard, but the syntax is like, oh, why are you doing this now?
Oh God, I
So,
already have enough time, hard time. So,
but like
oh
we can still definitely like talk about Python because like
yeah,
in all of that, that's the one that you guys will use. You're done with this class, you're gonna use Python. You're not gonna be using Java for data science, especially no way you're gonna use like Java or
good.
VBA, which is like old and gone. It's either Python or R. If you heard of R
R
and
is
Python
that
are
is
data
that Ruby?
is not Ruby. Oh, you've heard Ruby. I think is different. It's just
Oh,
R. Yeah.
okay. I haven't heard of
I
that.
don't know what R stands for, but but like
Okay.
anyways, like yeah, like Python and R are the biggest guys competitors in data science. Anyways,
Oh wow.
do you wanna like maybe go through the same process? Like maybe
Yeah, I think I opened your Python lesson 5 and 6. If we could go through that, and just a heads up, I've got my Zoom. I've got you open on my PC, my
oh yeah,
work
how was the computer
computer.
thing? Yeah.
It crashed again for me this week on my Mac. So I've got 2 computers going on because I was
Okay.
afraid every time I share, that's
Yeah.
when it crashes. And
I see. I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay, I'll share then.
yeah, okay. But I've got my Jupyter notebook open so I can follow along with you.
Okay.
And
Let me let me get my graphs because I was actually getting ready for to see something.
oh no,
I
okay.
wasn't ready to like present something. But
Oh, sorry.
no, it's all good. Let's take a look. Which one did you want? The lesson?
Let's go lesson 5, and then I think 6 was going into NumPy array, which we just started on
Oh, you guys
Saturday.
just started? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
or he may have touched on it Wednesday, but I was overwhelmed.
Okay.
So let's go
Do,
to
do,
5.
do you see this one?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
good.
Let me go all the way up. Just a heads up too, some of it gets cut off on the side.
A little bit, yeah. I
Yeah,
should just
yeah.
send you maybe the notebook file, this file that I have right now. This is actually in Jupyter.
Oh, it is.
Why the reason why I chose not to do that because I wanted you to like go through the process of typing it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay.
Because like what I usually do, either way works. Because if you're actually typing it, I always find myself like if I'm typing it, I actually learn more than like just okay, let me just like run this now. Because you could just run this if I give this to you, right?
Sure. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't want to cheat. So I will, I'm going to minimize since you have that up on your screen.
Okay.
I have a fresh Jupyter untitled page ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And then, yeah, I asked one of the TAs,
Yeah.
my issues with Zoom, and he
Yeah.
suggested,
What do you say?
well, he suggested uninstalling and reinstalling. So I did. I
Yeah.
haven't tested it out yet, but he's like, because I'm thinking it's a CPU, like it runs at like 100% when everything is open because everything's so intensive that
Yeah.
as soon as I share my screen or go into a breakout room, it kicks up and then
Oh, wow.
crashes. So, but I have the max amount of memory allowed on the Mac, or it was twice as much as they asked for.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not a bandwidth problem if it's your CPU. So
It's not, yeah.
I just, I shut down as much as I can. So that's why I'm trying this too. I won't be able to share with my teammates, but I can at least, not crash, and I can be in the session.
Yeah, as long as you can take it in and be present, obviously. You won't learn
Yeah.
anything if you're not present.
Exactly. That's kind of the point of the whole class, I think. So
Okay.
yeah, I would feel better.
Let's talk, you know what, like I think I'm thinking about this. Did you go over the collections and the basics of like the loops?
I read through it, and I understood some of it. Some of it we didn't get through in class. I think it was one of those read the documentation things, and
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't get to that.
Okay, I think we'll be good because I'll talk about it and I only run like some of them, maybe like the fill in the gaps kind of deal.
Sure,
And then,
sure.
for the Pandas, since it's fresh, we'll do that last.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So for collections, you already know about this technically, right? Like there's the list, and then you have like tuples, right? Like the list is with the bracket, the tuples is with the parentheses, and sets are with, and dictionaries are with braces. You could read these; they're very important. It's better when you actually go through like the examples.
Yeah.
Some of these examples, like you're wondering, how come you can like create like a list like many ways? You can, right?
Yeah. 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 Too many ways.
One of those ways is like doing this. Like the best way, the most common way is just using like a bracket, square bracket, and putting numbers inside. And then you just do this. The other way, and this applies for not just a list, but everything, tuples, sets, and like dictionaries, is maybe the keyword list is the same way as this guy. So, when you run it, hold up, here we go. When you run it, and the way I'm doing it here, like, you can definitely like, this is how coders do it, is they set up their Jupyter notebook, like this with words. Because if you take a look at this, look how messy this looks.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a
look
lot.
how clean it looks now.
Oh, how nice.
Right?
Now, what did you press?
You just run it. You run this guy.
Oh.
It's like running a program right here. But inside here, this is a markdown. You know how like you have a cell? Like there's a code cell and a markdown.
Oh, I haven't done the markdown. Okay.
Yeah, the markdown stuff, this is when it's like, it's not really like applicable to what we're doing right now.
Okay.
but it's more like formatting. I do a lot of my like, if I'm presenting something, this is the best thing because it's very live, right? Jupyter Notebook, you have this guy, which you could just talk and like have words here.
Yeah.
And you can lively like just run things, which is better than like a presentation, like a PowerPoint, because then you have to like, I don't know, maybe like write on it. But here everything's set up. Anyways, so that's how you do it with a list, and then the tuple is with the parentheses. So okay, we'll skip that. And then there's dictionary. We already talked about this. One thing I do want to talk about is let me see, maybe like when we're editing like lists, this is like probably the most basic thing and more fundamental, because then you're going to be using it in databases as well. Like, when you're appending and looping.
Yeah.
You have this list, right? And then, so this part right here is I'm talking about modifying a list. Like you can add to a list, or you can modify it, you can move things around, you can delete, you can add. There's so many different things. So this appending is adding to a list. So for example, I have this guy, right? I have this list variable with a bunch of fruits. And then in here, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to add another fruit called strawberry. So the syntax for that is, so you take your variable here, and you just, when you do this dot append, this is like a method, we talked about this. This is just, you have this variable, you do dot append, and whatever you put inside is gonna be placed at the end of the list. So that's how you append. And then there's another guy where, what if I wanted to check like if something is inside my list? So like, when you check something's inside something, that sounds like a true or false, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what if I had this guy, and then let me check if cherry is in it. So you just do cherry as a string, and then not in, the membership operator not in. and then you check inside. It's very simple. Like in Python, it's like English, like language. You know, it's not like code language. Cherry not in list var, so it's true. It's not in there. Indexing. This is probably one where you're gonna need this for loops, and then a lot is when remember when you're indexing something, it starts from 0, right?
Yes,
0,
yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Mhm.
And like if you're gonna do this indexing, what it does is it returns what number it is. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So if I said this is indexing, now you know what it is. Like, oh, when you read this, oh, this is checking what my list variable is, the index of banana.
Okay.
And then to confirm that, you just count. So like now you know that now you could do something with it without actually checking it. Is what I'm saying. Like you could use it for a loop or what have you, you know.
Okay.
And then replacing is like one of those things where, what if you wanted to like replace you know, this banana, I think, with like another fruit. And we did this with the data frame. What I'm doing here, like list var,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did this like slicing right here, or like indexing. You know, you have this like bracket, right? Because this right here is a list. You can do this with a data frame or a list. For a list, it's only one D. It's only this way, horizontal. And you know how for like the data frame, you had like this minus like this guy, right? Like that.
Yes, yes.
But this is a list. For the data frame, it's like a 2D. For a list, it's 1D. So for a list, you could only do this. For a data frame, you have a comma and then a Y, right? So for a data frame, you have like X and then Y.
And yeah.
For a list, it's only one, which is just the X. Or like, so like there's a relationship, right? There's a relationship between those.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did this, what this like tells you is like, I'm looking at the list. I only want the third element. So let's count 0, 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes.
And then in there, I want to replace that, whatever element is in there, the banana, with strawberry, whatever this guy is. So it replaces it. And that's how you do it. You just move this guy, you know, like whichever one you want to replace.
Hmm.
And you do the same thing. That's like modifying a list, modifying a data frame. There's so many of those. And then you could also sort, you know, you could sort things around. Same with a data frame. You could sort things in a data frame and move like columns. Here, we're just talking on 1D. So what we're sorting is just these guys, like the elements. So if you look over here, when I mean sort, like there's no particular order. It's not ascending or descending, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do dot sort, see like the format of these are very similar. You just have the variable list and then dot that function, and the function here is sort. So when you act on your list with the sort, it does it in numerical ascending order. So from negative to positive.
So I mean, automatically it's ascending order.
Yeah, if you want it to be descending, you have to do this other guy, dot reverse here.
Oh, okay.
So right here, right? Like if you look over here, this is descending, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So one way you could do that, you can. I'll just show you, I guess, one way, because there's another way, and then one of those is I think just reverse. Yeah, you just do reverse. So dot reverse allows you to like it's like the opposite of dot sort.
Okay.
And there's another way to do it, which is like this guy. Maybe it's not that confusing. I'll just try to talk about it.
Like I don't know.
so like if you do yeah, hold up. Let me whoops, that's so wrong. If you do this right here, and then let's move this guy, because it's very important when you learn the other way, because the other way is more flexible.
Okay.
If you do dot reverse, it's like using someone else's function. You know, someone wrote dot reverse, and it's probably the same way as what we're gonna talk about. But like this is just, it's always good to know the fundamental like bare bones, because then it's more flexible. That's the reason why people like talk about it. But anyways, when you're doing like this way here, maybe. There you go.
So
That's how I
you
did it.
sort, and then
So you know how like I sorted it, and
Uh-huh.
then this guy returns the updated list in a reverse order.
okay. So sort and slicing.
Yeah. So when you sort this guy, like it's technically. Oh, that's right. There you go. That's what it is.
What does that mean?
So when you sort this guy,
Okay.
and you
Okay.
know how like it's in descending order now,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this is ascending and then this is descending.
Okay.
So one way you could do that is let's take a look at what this is right here. This one right here.
Okay.
So you know how like we talked about range like in data frames,
Mm-hmm.
like you know where you go from X to like from one column to another. You put in a colon, right? And do you remember that one?
Yes. Yes.
For a
Vaguely.
range,
I do.
for a list though, for a list like this guy, there's two colons. So it's like, oh, what the heck does that mean? You know?
Right.
What this is so the first thing here is where you start. You know, this number, like if I put a number here, and if I put another number here, this is where you end. And then this is like the increment, you know? So
Oh.
this so when you don't put anything in here, this means that like you go all the way to the left and all the way to the right. And then the increment is like -1 every time. So it's reverse. So you're going all the way to the left of this guy, right?
Okay.
And all the way to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you put in a negative, it's gonna switch it.
Hmm.
So that's why it's doing this dot reverse.
Okay.
So when you put in if I put in like a 1, see like if I put in a 1 here, it's the same as this guy, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because it's going like 1, 2, 3. When I say 1, like it's going by element, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the number, like
Okay. Okay.
you know what I mean? Like yeah.
Yeah.
Let me change what this is, you know. But like if it's like that, like obviously you could put in like different, you know, like this guy. So let's take a look at that. See, if I put in 1, it's gonna go in the ascending order, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I put in -1, it's gonna go in the descending order.
Okay.
Whatever I put here is where it starts. I could have gone like 0 all the way to, let's count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's like, okay, let's see if it's like, you could have done this same, or this guy. Oh, so this one, it's go. So sometimes when you do these things, like, so when you don't have a number here, it just means go all the way to the left, all the way to the right.
Okay.
I have an example that has like numbers here. I'll show you that when we get to it.
Okay.
But what this is doing is like technically like when you have a -1 here, it's gonna reverse it. And then when you don't have a number in like the first like number here and then this one, it just means go to the left all the way and then go to the end, beginning and end. And when you put a negative, you just switch it. Okay, the next one. So the next one is same as kind of like appending, but then I'm not replacing anything. I'm just gonna add something, and then shift all the indexes accordingly. And how you do that is with dot insert. So let's try to like break this one. So dot insert. I want to add strawberry, which is your second argument, to like 0, 1, 2, 3 on the third index. So 0, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
So 3 here is the banana one, right?
Yeah.
But then this is insert. This is not like replace or like appending. An insert is it's gonna just shift all of these guys to the right, and then it'll add, and then whatever index this is gonna it's gonna replace it with this guy. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's correct, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Everything gets shifted. There's
Okay.
also one, I think, for data frames like that. When we need that, we'll talk about it. It's not really that important. For data frame, it's more like, can you move your columns, in an order you want it to, and can you add columns?
Gotcha. Okay.
And then for, you can also combine a list. For data frames, you could also do that. You can combine like 2 data frames, 2 tables into one, like a summary. And the same way, you can also combine 2 lists. So here's my first one, here's my second one. And how this gets done is it's just gonna add it like right after it. So like you have this list, and then this guy's just gonna get added after melon.
Mm.
And then how you write that is, dot extend. This is what you do. You do the first one first, and then dot extend, and whatever you put inside is gonna get added in.
Okay.
So whatever you put in the beginning, like before dot extend, that's where it's gonna take, the order is gonna change, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just gotta know like what this is doing. Like if you switch this, it's gonna switch this guy.
Okay.
And then what about pop? Pop, I actually, like, a lot of people, they know about this one. When you wanna remove, so all that was adding before this. Now let's try to remove them.
Pop.
Yeah. So that pop, very like it's a funny, it's like what you wouldn't imagine seeing this in programming.
No.
But that's
No.
why Python is fun, like people, like the people that create it are more exciting than like the people that create Java. No, anyways, so dot pop, it removes whatever index or whatever element. Things in here are elements. So it removes whatever element is in index 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. It's gonna remove this element banana, which is on index 3. So it removes it, right? There's no more banana. So
Right. Okay.
and then removing by element. So removing by element. So now let's not talk about, like, you could actually remove, like this first one right here, the pop, you're using the index number to remove an element. This one, what if you don't know, you don't want to do the counting thing? Sometimes it gets confusing, 0, 1, what if you have like a million,
Yeah.
You don't want to be counting. So there's times when you use the removing by element, you just remove like whatever is the banana there.
Okay.
So I think there's also one where you can remove like, if there's multiple of these, it removes them actually. Like if it, like for data frames, remember we did the unique, unique, and then you could, there's like a counterpart for data frames, different syntax obviously, but you could like remove like unique, like if there's banana and there's 12 of those guys, you can remove all of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The unique
Remember that one?
list. Yeah. Okay.
There's always a counterpart. Like it's just a different syntax. Like lists and then data frames, very similar, but there's always a counterpart.
Okay. Now, if I was to remove, say, multiples, would I go after
multiple
the
things?
quotation? Yeah, say after the banana, do I do comma and then say I wanted to remove banana through melon? Do I have to list each one, or can I do colon?
You have to do each one, I think.
I do. Okay.
Yeah. For this one, yeah, because like for example, for this guy, I think it only takes in one argument, and it has to be a string.
Okay.
It really depends on how they coded it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I think this one, let's see if it works for this one. See, like this one, it gives you like a syntax error. It's always, you gotta look back at the syntax.
That stupid syntax, it gets me in trouble every time.
You gotta go look at the documentation. That's why they always ask you. Do you remember, they tell you, I think you could type this in, like if you did like, like this guy. Let me see.
Oh.
Yeah, see, you could do like, this is the syntax right here. Or like
print.
Yeah.
I don't know that one. Hello.
Or this one right here. There's 2 of them. You can either do help or question mark print. It's easier that way, right? Like if it's already in here.
Print's the value.
Like here. It's either question mark print or help print. Or whatever, like whatever the command is.
And that tells you what's wrong with it, and
it tells you like whatever you see in the documentation. Maybe like not so much what's wrong, but like the how to use the function.
Okay.
Like all the debugging stuff, like it takes more. You just gotta do more, and then eventually, it's gonna like become normal, and then like you'll just anticipate. Like for example, when can you use like a list here or like a string? It's just one of those things. You just repetitively use something, and then innately it becomes like natural.
Hope
But
so.
eventually, okay. Let's talk about. I think did you guys touch on while loops?
We touched on it with, gosh, maybe a couple weeks ago, but it was pretty fast. So I wouldn't mind going through that again.
Let's just talk about for loops. I think the while loops is kind of similar.
Okay.
But I would just talk about like for loops because like it's more commonly used than while loop.
Okay.
So for a for loop, you already know this one. They probably talked about the theory is like you have this for loop, right? And it's gonna go to this sequence and it's gonna ask, is this the last item on the sequence? And if it's true, if it's false, you're still like on the second one. Like this sequence means like a list. That's why we talked about a collection, because this sequence means like a list of things or like a range. So that's why all the collection, all the list that we talked about is applicable to loops. This is what you use. Last item of a sequence. You put a sequence. If it's not the last element, then you keep on repeating. If it's the last one, then it exits.
Okay.
So like kind of like this. Like if I wanted to print like a number, like 10 to 2 right here. Like this is like the syntax. So you have for the keyword. That sequence that we just talked about is this guy. So
10, 0, 2, okay.
Did you guys talk about range, the function?
Yes, we did. A little.
Okay, so range is kind of like that. I mean, it's not a range. I'll just define what these arguments are. The first one right here is like where you start. Like for example, obviously here, right, is 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second argument is where you end, right?
Okay.
Where you end. But then like, and then this next one is counting by 2.
Okay.
And this one right here, it doesn't really for a for loop. I don't believe like So the kind of similar to a data frame. If you remember like the range, you go from like, remember you include the one on the initial one, but when you go to like the ending, you don't include that ending. That's where you stop. So this one, it goes from 10 to 0, but not including 0. So
Okay.
10 to 0, not including 0. And then the increment, the third argument is the increment. And you see there's a minus sign here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's minus sign. If I delete that, it's going to go from, oh, whoops. Obviously, you can't.
Huh.
Oh, I see. You have to go from 0 to 10. There you go. So like logically, you have to think about it, right? Like there's a syntax error and then there's a logical error.
Okay. Of course.
And there's a semantics error. That's like the hard one.
Oh my God.
Semantics is like everything runs, but then like, are you getting the right result? And everything runs, there's no error, but are you getting the right result? That's like a semantic. What we just got there, like we went from 10 to 0, right?
Yeah.
And then you're increasing, because like if you don't put in a negative, you're decreasing the time, right? And see, it didn't give me anything, right? Because
there's nowhere to go, right?
There's nowhere to go. 10 to what? Like you're going to 0, but then you need to increase.
Yeah.
So logically, you have to think about it. So it has to be this, and that's why it's 0 to 10. It's increasing by 2, not including 10. So 0 to 8.
Okay.
And when you switch it and you put a negative, like, and then this is the increment. Now this is by increment, so you can go like 1 or 2.
Okay.
This is a really common one if you wanted to count numbers and then like do something to them. There's a lot of you can program this like along with something else, but this is a way for you to output a sequence.
Okay.
Another one would be, this is not that important. What we're doing here is I'm just printing it like horizontally. Okay, so let me see. another one here is like the same with range, is you could slice it. You know, you could put like from here you have like, what's the third element, right? Is 0, like you have 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And this 3.
So the third element is 3, not 2, even though you count 0.
Because 0, 1, for this one, yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
If you put in 0, it's 0, it counts it.
Okay, so it's the name or whatever, the value, or not the value, but the name
index,
of that, the index, what it actually is. Okay.
And if you put in, like for indexing, if you put a negative number, it's gonna start from the right side. So if you put in like 2, it's gonna be 3, right? Or 3. If you put in like 1, it's 4, it's this guy. It's a little weird when you start from the last, because like you don't start from 0. Right? Like it's just one of those things. You don't start from 0. You start from 1, but it's negative. See, like it's not consistent, right? And then you go with 2, -1, -2. You don't start from -0. There's no -0.
Oh, sure.
There's -1, -2, which is 3, right?
Yeah.
So when you start from the left, you start with 0. If you start from the right, you put a negative, but you don't start with 0. You start with 1. I know it's like one of those like small rules. Like, oh my goodness, how many?
that one always confused me. I think even in my code that I was writing for homework, I'm like, I was getting lost. Like, why would I even do that?
And that's why you always have to check like each line. If you have something, don't code all of them at once. Code them until like spaghetti, you know, and then like just test out each code block. Okay. Let me see if we can skip these. I just want like I wanted to touch on this. So that's like pretty much loops. Let's go to functions. Functions are like so important because this is when like you have the pandas, right? You have the NumPy. This is how people create them. They just create multiple functions, and that's why they're able to create their own like pandas and a NumPy, matplotlib. Someone had to create those. They just create their own functions. So the syntax for a function is you put def, like definition, and then whatever comes here, this is like the name of the function. Okay. Did you guys touch on like creating functions?
Just the f function is a function of something. Putting an f in a.
You mean like a math function?
A math function. Sorry, yes, a math function.
Okay.
I know you obviously know I don't know this stuff, but I don't recognize this. I don't recognize this.
Okay, like it's good to have this background because a lot of the like if you were to create your own, like for example, like because you guys will create like right now the functions you're using is someone else's function. You know, pandas. That's like someone else's function. NumPy, someone else's function. But if you wanted to do something, to combine the features of pandas and then maybe NumPy, matplotlib, and then you want to put it in one, you could combine it. And let me show you how you do it. But first, this is how you write it. So you have def, the name of the function, whatever you put in here, like the parentheses, that's like what you're feeding a function. For example, like what if I wanted to feed a function like 2 integers? I just put it in here, and then I wanted to add those 2 integers. So I would take like integer A and B, maybe like A and B are the 2 integers. And inside my function, I put A plus B equals C, right? And then a function, the most important thing is what does it take in, which is the inputs, which goes here, all inputs go inside here. And then what does your function return, or what's its output? And then the output is every time you're calling that function, then you get something. So let me show you, like that's in words abstractly, and let me show you like an example.
Yeah, I'm really lost there.
let me like for example this guy. So all right, let me just show you something that's like easy. I don't want to use that one. Here you go. Maybe this is something good. This is not that complicated. So I'm creating like a body mass index. That's like, I don't think there's a function for that. Like BMI, you know?
Oh yeah.
So there's no function for that. So why don't I just create it? You have the formula. Every time there's an equation, you know, for example, the finance assignment, there's an equation, right? You could definitely, instead of writing like the equation inside the code, you can just create your own function. What makes this like easy, what the reason why you want to do that is you could repeat this like, you know, many times for different inputs. You don't have to like keep on writing the equation. That's the reason why you want to write a function, to make your code cleaner. So, you know, there's the name of the function, right? Everything inside the parentheses are the inputs. So how do I calculate BMI? Is I need a name of the person, I need the height of the person in meters, and then I need its person's weight in kilograms, kg. So all of that I explained here. And what do I want to return? What is it that I want from this function? Well, obviously you want the BMI, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. You want
Yeah.
the
So for the
result.
most part, the name of the function is what you want to return. But that's how you want to make it descriptive. And then everything inside, you don't have to say what it is, but like, you know, it's descriptively, but just put it inside the parentheses. So it takes in the name, so the name's in here. And then with the numerical one, height and weight. So for example, you can put anything in here, all your conditions, all your loops. So my BMI is just taking the weight, the input, and dividing it by the height squared. Whatever the equation is, you know, like this is just an example. So you calculate this guy. And now I want this to return that. So how I went about and did that is I did like this if else statement where if the BMI is like less than 25, you know, this guy, then I would say that they're healthy. And then this is what I return. I would return like this string. You've seen this before, right? A string.
Yes, you helped me with that on the last assignment.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one threw me. They all do, but you know, that one really did.
Okay. So like, yeah, like this is not all of that you can put inside like a function. And so this is what I did. I just did like less than 25. If it's greater than, then I would do the else. So now you have that, right? All that, you know, all this like junk right here is inside. All I have to do is like call this out and I get this here. So these are all my inputs. These are all my inputs. This is my inputs. And then the reason why you want to write a function is you don't want to keep on writing this junk every time. You want to like just have multiple inputs, and then all you have to do to run the function is this guy. So body mass index right? Right, and I'm printing this. I want to print whatever it returns. So body mass index, input 1, input 2, input 3, and there's 3 of those guys. 3 different people. And there you go. Like all of this is like because you know, I didn't have to write this equation multiple times. I don't want to do that. It can get complicated. That's why this is a very simple equation. You could have done it like the old-fashioned way, but this is very important. Like when you're creating your own function, because no one has written every single equation in the book, you know, into like code.
Right.
So you don't have to worry if you don't have like a built-in function or built-in command that Python has. And writing functions is not just for Python, it's like for every language.
Okay. Oh my, okay. Find my own.
But writing it in Python is really easy though. And this is very like the syntax is like, you know, it's understandable, right? The syntax there.
Now for all the red
this guy?
Yeah, is it reading it? Is that why there's quote marks?
No,
or is that like hashtag marks?
So this is like hashtag. Let me just explain. I kind of skipped this because it doesn't read this, but this is called a doc string. A doc string. It's a string, but it's a documentation string.
Oh.
So this tells you something about the function. Okay, let me explain that. So you know how, remember we did this help thing, and then this question mark would print, like with any function, right? Remember this guy? This came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look what this is. There's a doc string.
Oh.
So let me do that to my function. Let me do whatever I just did. Like print is a built-in function, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do this to like my function now. look what happened.
Oh, so it stored it all in there. Oh, nice.
Yeah, see, like I created my own thing. It's like right here. Whatever I
Wow.
wrote, whatever I wrote in this guy,
It automatically saved it. Oh,
and
nice.
it gives you the name, you know. Whatever I wrote, like that. This is how they created it. This is the back end of like what happened or how they did the pandas and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's let's not cover the errors. It's just a bunch of you can probably read those later on. This is just a bunch of the errors, the most common ones.
Yeah, I get those, so I get a
Okay.
lot of those, so it's fine. We can
Getting
skip
it.
those. I
Getting
get
it.
enough headaches from that.
Okay. So in terms of, I think we have 15 minutes, and my time's
Oh,
really
we
quick.
do?
Yeah.
Oh
And then
my.
I have like a 5 o'clock, but I think he's fine because I'm just reviewing his. I already did his homework, so
Okay.
we're good if we go 5 minutes.
Don't worry.
So,
No, that's okay. I don't want you to be late. That's okay.
okay. So for pandas here, we kind of talked about it. I'm just like I'll probably just cover. If you went over this, like it's kind of similar to what I talked about last time. You know, when you're reading something.
So yeah, so I know I always have to import pandas as PD, and then
then
I
yeah,
have to grab the file. I have to get this. Well, it's not always CVS, but for this purpose, for what we're learning so far, it is
yeah,
a CVS to join and
yes,
read
yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then I just like the reason why I added these other ones in here is just like for this guy, there's like 3 different main ones. Like you could do like a CSV or like an Excel file, right? Like any Excel data that you create, you could input, like, but then it's just a different syntax. And you also have like dot text. This is not as common. This one isn't as common, but these two are.
Okay.
Okay, so you have
Okay.
that. Let me just because this example works with the CSV, I think. So I'll load that. So CSV, and then if you look at this, you can actually. I think there's some functions here that I wanted to cover. So like if you have your data frame, right? Your DF was your data frame.
Uh-huh.
So all these guys here are now in your data frame.
Okay.
If you wanted to like not do a summary, but just take a look at your data frame, you could do .info. Like read the, this is what comes up.
Oh, that'd be nice. Okay.
Yeah. Like it has all, the different column labels, and it gives you how many there are, and then the type. It gives you the data type for each for all the different columns. There's
Okay.
11 columns, right, or 12 rather. There's a plus this index,
Yes.
and then like you could also do like what if you wanted the size? Like remember like for a list you could do like len, right? The len of a list gives you the size of the list.
Yes.
But then for a data frame which is like a 2D, like you have x and y, there's gonna be 2 numbers, right?
Okay. Okay. So
So it's like 800 like cells and then
eight
12 columns
800 cells. So cells
going
and
down,
then columns.
going down,
Okay.
yeah. Cells or rows, whatever. There's 800 rows and then there's 12 columns.
Okay. Rows first, columns second, always. Okay.
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
then like if I wanted to visualize the columns, what they are, the name of them, the labels, you've seen this one. That's like the header.
Yes. Yeah. The header one. Yes.
And then like what if you wanted to do like read each column? You could do this. Maybe not this one, like this guy right here. When you slice it, have you mastered this one now? I mean, not really, but like kind of like.
No.
That was wrong.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just ask because maybe we're almost there. but like how because we talked about the list, which is kind of similar, right, to a data frame.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing here. Like you have 0, which is like the beginning of your data frame.
Mm-hmm.
But then this one is just a column, right? Because I just wanted the name.
Yeah.
So you're doing the double slicing here. So like you only want the name column. And then from the name column, I only want from 0 to 5. Name column, and then 0 to 5 row, 0 to 5th row, whatever,
Right.
But if this
And
one,
then you never count. Okay.
yeah. And then like if you want it, so all of this is like filtering, right? Like this is how you filter.
Okay.
Like this is a syntax to filter like the columns that you want to show. You do like a double, a double bracket.
Okay.
I think each row, and then we have the iLock for each row. That one isn't that bad. It's if you wanted to print like maybe from first no, from the name all the way to the fourth, but not include like so this is let me see if this is printing.
iLock gave me a little trouble there. I will say that.
Yeah, iLock is just like when you have your column and like your data frame, and then from your data frame, like for example, let's just take a look at the data frame, which is like you have your data frame here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at iLock, that just says like I want all these rows from 1 to 4. So for example, I think it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but not including that. Let me just check a look. This is the one that like you go from, and then you go like here. Yeah, so that is what it is. So it's only going from like the number of rows. This first part right here is a number of rows. If you put in a comma, remember it's like 2D. So if you put in a comma, then you see what happened there? So the first thing here, if you only put 1, like it will include all your columns, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because the first one is rows.
Rows.
It goes from 1, like 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, not including 4.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
And the way you visualize it like easily is like you just have to look at this guy first. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And then not including the last one, the fourth one. So it should show all these guys right here.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to go from like only from name to like a certain one, then you need to add a comma there.
Okay.
Like the next one would be, you just have to count. It always includes that guy, but it doesn't include like the other guy. So see like, it includes 1, 2, 3, not including the fourth one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. It's just you just have to look at it that way. And if you wanted to do like a specific like row, let me see this one. It's just like a coordinate, right? It's just a coordinate. Like if you wanted to go from, let's take a look at like what it looks like here. So like row 2, so where's the Venusaur? It's right here, 2. So this is the row, right? 1.
0 is a row 2. 1, 2. You're looking at then row.
And this is column 1.
Okay.
And then 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. It's right here. This is confusing us because of this number here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
it's actually this one, 0, 1, 2, which is this guy, right? And then the first column would be this guy.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to get like maybe the fourth one, you just have to change this. Let's see if our intuition is correct. You need to build your intuition, is what I'm saying, for coding. It's like that's how you get better. Is like you don't want to keep on checking. Yes, you gotta be checking like what you're printing,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but eventually, like, okay, now because like once you anticipate, now you understand what's going on. Like you don't have to like guess. Along with anything, like in math, you have trial and error.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of trial.
But then like there's a more sophisticated way of solving the equation. That's the same way. You don't want to be keep on like trial and error or doing that. You want to be precise, is what I'm saying. Okay, and then this one right here, you guys touched on sorting, right?
Yes, we did. We touched on it. Yes.
Okay, so for example, you could just do the data frame sort values is the syntax, sort values. And what I did here is like, I wanted to, like you could do either 1, you're only sorting with 1, and And you usually put like, if you want it to be descending, starting from the top, you put ascending equals false. If you want it to sort in priority, like I want to sort by type first and H3 next, you do this or whatever, you could have 3 or 4, whatever. And then when you do this, it's not false or true anymore. It's, I think 1 means true and then 0 means false.
Oh, okay.
Corresponding to this guy. You know,
Okay.
this one is going to be true, and then this one is going to be false.
Okay.
False meaning it's like descending.
Descending. False meaning descending. Okay.
And then you can always like, you know, review these ones. And you can definitely add like and replace. Oh, one thing, maybe I'll just touch on this because we talked about like adding columns, right? We talked about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Renaming columns. I kind of remember that.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. What is that? Is null. Oh, it's probably because like we already removed it. You know, a lot of these ones, if you already removed it, let me just take a look at it. Because if you already like, let's take a look at this guy. Okay, so it's type 2. I renamed this like, you know, I renamed the columns, so that's why the name here is not right. So it should be type 2, type 2. Okay. So like when you're doing data science, a lot of it is like you cannot have empty cells. It's gonna mess with you. Like you could do, how you resolve that is you could either, for example, this one, I'm gonna say is null, right? So this one you see like it gave me false and trues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it checked if like the cells that I have like along this column, if I have an any n or is it an empty cell.
Okay.
Have you seen that before, like an empty cell?
I remember going that over that I think a couple of sessions ago.
Okay, look at this one, type 2, right? This is the one we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Do you see this guy right here? Nan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this nan right here is like sometimes in your code, like it's better if it's a 0. It's better if it's a number.
Oh, okay.
For the most part, you don't want to remove it, but you could remove it. Like what I'm saying is, let's take a look at like how many of those you have. Let me see. Okay, it's a key error, meaning like it's the name is wrong, so it's type 2. Okay, so what this is doing is, you know, I'm looking at the label type 2. I'm looking at if how many null, how many empty cells I have, and I want to see how many there are. So you do is null is sum, and then I have 386 cells or rows in type 2 column that are empty. This is what it's doing.
Okay.
This is very important because when you do, like I said, when you're doing that, you want to be able to know if you have empty cells, and this is how you can check. You can just change this to like whatever column and check like across your column, across your data frame.
Okay.
So knowing that I have empty cells, I want to fill them in, right?
Yes.
So what you do is you do the same thing, but you do dot fill NA, and you make them all 0 now. So you see this? Let's take a look at the data frame now, the full data frame. So this one still says none. What you have to do is like data frame 2, you have to do this right here. You have to make it equal something else, like this guy. Okay, and then print. Okay, so you see like this one is 0 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's another one, like maybe that one, it's a little bit when you're trying to edit. A lot of times when you're editing these things, you run into trouble with like, oh, like you edited something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then now you're checking it and it didn't happen. Like, and then you check your data frame, like a lot of times like your edits didn't happen. What you have to do is you have to put this in place true. If you don't want to like assign it to like a variable, like what I did here. I assigned it to a new variable.
Okay. In place.
Okay.
True. Okay.
Okay. So like, I think if you go over a lot of these, let me know if we could definitely go over these again. I think we kind of covered most of the basics. That's good. We got that out of the way.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I think what I'll do, because I know you got to go, but I'm going to send you my homework,
Yes.
and then just to help, because I'm staring at it too long. I don't even know
Briefly,
at this point.
what did you have? What do you guys have to do for the homework? Just like
Pandas. There were 2 versions, and there was one with was like Pie Molly, where it was a game where
bowling?
yeah, and then there was
Okay. That's fun.
but you had to choose that one, or like Pie City.
Like Sim City.
Well, not quite.
Sim City's fun. Okay, go ahead.
This is more city, just normal city functions, and so I accidentally chose that one, and I ended up, after doing it or attempting
what do you have to do with the data frame? Like, what's the end goal?
Printing out a lot of charts.
Like this guy, like you have to do a lot of, like, you have to do matplotlib in the, or
not this week, not
this week. Oh, just a bunch of like data frame, like charts.
A lot of like the Panda chart. You know, you were showing me like the Pharaoh charts and the.
Okay. That's
just
okay.
Summing them up, percentages.
Oh, just messing with the data frame.
Yeah,
okay.
Just really, but of course I chose the hard one, and I didn't.
That's good.
No.
Intro challenge, I guess. You'll learn more if you do it that way.
I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. So.
I'll definitely look at that, and then it doesn't seem like it's bad. I thought you had to, like, do some graphing. There's pretty much just pandas.
Just pandas right now. I mean, Python, Panda, but then this next lesson after this one will be matplotlib, and then I think from there, then we actually get our project team assignment
when you combine
and combine everything, and so I'll definitely need your help on that, because I don't want to let the team down. And
no worries. Yeah, I think let me know when will that happen, and then like give me the prompt for this one. I'll look at like what you have, and then kind of like build on it. Or like if there's an efficient way, I'll talk about that. But let me send you my solution for that. Maybe I'll work on it. I think I do have time tonight, so I'll work on it tonight and then send it to you like at the latest, maybe Tuesday morning.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm looking for efficiencies, like I said, but I made an attempt at least, and we'll see. It doesn't work, but I made the attempt. So.
Nah, that's good. No, it's always that, like, but you understand like more now though, right? Like you said, you tried it. I'll take a look at it, but you tried it.
Basics, yeah. It's slow in coming.
What does it help when we talk about, like, I guess terminology, like when we're going back and forth, and then I'm explaining, you're explaining. Does it help?
It does. I have to talk it out. Yeah, I have to talk it out, because this in class, like, here's your lesson, you have 8 minutes. Oh, we didn't tell you this, but if you went on this documentation, you could find it here. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even get what you first said.
To me,
That's too much.
No worries. Yeah,
so,
like I think we're in a good road. Let's continue doing this, and then like for me, what I'm gonna try to do is like maybe I'll do like a matplotlib, like a bridge version, and then maybe what's after matplotlib? Or you guys will have your project already?
We'll have our project. I know we'll continue on with Python functions. I don't know what they are yet. I'll look on when I get my assignment over to you. I'll list out what the weekly curriculum is, so you have an idea.
I think there's like 2 more. If you do like, let me know if you guys will do this. Like if there's scikit-learn, or scikit-learn is 1 more, and then SymPy or scikit-learn.
Okay.
Those are like, if you don't cover it, we should cover it, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Because those are like the big 2, and then NumPy and then matplotlib. Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah, send those to me, and then let me know when you want to meet. When do you want to meet to talk about the solutions?
Yeah, I'll look at your Tuesday schedule. I know last week you were really booked. You're good. Okay, so I'll book something tonight with you for like Tuesday, like late afternoon or something like that.
I think that'll be good, because like we don't want it to be like that day of, at least.
No, I can't panic like that. I can't.
Yeah.
I need to focus.
Tuesday, like maybe around like early or late afternoon, I'm good. Just look at my thing. Cool.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. You too.
Yep.
Bye-bye.